and welcome to this guide on script notes, writing your script notes for introduction to script writing. So this should be quite a quick video and straightforward. I'm down here in case you haven't noticed me. I'll disappear as I need to if some text overruns the slides. Right, so script notes. Script notes are part of your assessment for this module. So they are actually, when we look at the module's assessment, it says you'll write 10 pages and those script notes are a part of those 10 pages. So 5 of the pages that you write should be your script and 3 to 5 of those pages should be your script notes. Your script and your script notes together form the assessment here because they're symbiotic, they work together. The script is your creative work and your script notes introduce notions of the development of your work and demonstrate how you grew your script throughout our writing processes and also how you helped others develop their scripts. So your script notes are really important. They're not optional, they're compulsory, and they're weighted at 30% of the marks available for this module. So 30% of the total marks you can get for this module come from your script notes. Your script itself should be 5 pages. We're really clear on that, 5 pages. I don't really want to see much more than that. There is leeway either end, as I said in class, but ideally it should be around 5 pages. Your script notes should be between 3 and 5 pages. To be honest, for me, right, your script notes should be around 3 pages or just over 3 pages. They should be short, sharp, concise, to the point. I don't want screeds of explanation that's longer than the actual script itself. Yeah, so I want short, sharp, concise examples and reflections that really make the point of how you developed your script, how your script changed over time, how your script became what it is for the final submission. So aim for 3 to 5 pages. 5 is the maximum. I don't see any more than 5 pages in your script notes. If there's more than 5 pages in your script notes, basically you're going beyond what I've asked you to write for your actual script. So if your script doesn't explain itself and you need more than 5 pages to explain your script, then there perhaps is a problem with what's going on. Okay, I'm going to take a wee picture away so we can see the rest of this last point here. Yeah, so it says, basically, I don't want more than 10 pages submitted in total. Okay, I don't want more than 10 pages submitted in total for your assessment. Now, the reason I've asked you not to submit more than 10 pages is because I'm trying to introduce this notion of working to brief. In script writing, when you go out there into the industry, you're told to write X amount of pages and you should hit that amount of pages. It's an indication of good professional practice. Now, as your second year students, I'll accept leeway either end, of course, but I really want you to try your best to write no more than 10 pages in total for this assessment, and that demonstrates your ability to me that you can hit a professional brief. Okay. Next slide. Right, so I'm just going to quickly go through the assessment criteria for this again, and I did this in class, but I'll reiterate it here because it's really important. So 30% of all the marks from the module are available from your script notes, and there's 2 learning outcomes that are assessed in your script notes, and that's learning outcome 3 and learning outcome 5. So learning outcome 3 says that you should critically analyse the development of your work in terms of self-appraisal, tutor feedback and peer feedback, dramatic conventions, i.e. all the theory that we've done in this module that you've not necessarily had taught to you, but I expect you to go and read in those books, okay, and all the stuff that is kind of bled through in the notes from sending. And also contemporary professional practice, which means other short films you've looked at, or other television programmes you've looked at, or other films you've looked at, or other radio broadcasts you've looked at, anything that's influenced you. So I'm asking you to critically analyse the development of your own script in relation to those other things. Okay. The second criteria is entitled learning outcome 5, and that's what we're asking you to demonstrate how you contributed. I'll put a wee picture away here so you can see this. If I can get out of my mouse, there we go. How you contributed to the peer writing groups, and how you benefited from that, and how the peer writing groups helped you develop your script, or maybe gave you suggestions that you rejected and why you rejected it, but also very importantly, how you helped others, So that's the assessment criteria that's applicable for your script notes. So basically, I will mark you on the stuff that's in these 2 assessment criteria, nothing else. I'm looking at these 2 things, so I'm not looking at spelling or grammar. Yeah, I'm looking at the information that is in those 2 assessment criteria. Okay, next slide. Right, so I want your script notes formatted in a very specific way. Okay, I'm going to take my face away so you can see this. I want your script notes formatted in a way that makes them all the same across the class. Okay, so I want the script notes to be in a separate document for your script. I don't want them in the same document script, so you're writing two documents: the script, which should be in cell text in a PDF format, and your script notes, which should be in Word format or Word equivalent, whatever you decide to use. Okay, I have made a template, and I will attach the template to this email and put it up on Moodle. So I'll send you the template. The best way for you to do this would be to use the template and just put your stuff straight into the template, and put your script notes straight into the template. Your script notes should not exceed 5 double-spaced pages. Okay, you should use 12-point Courier font so that you can't use a tiny wee font and then write loads and loads and loads and loads. And basically, your script notes should not exceed the size of the script. Now, that doesn't mean if you've written a 6-page script, you can write 6 pages of script notes. Please keep it under 5 or under. Your script notes have two sections. The first section is a critical self-analysis of your script, where you analyse your script yourself in terms of thinking about development. How did you get to where you got to? You know, and you're critical about how you got there. You're trying to think about yourself as a reflective practitioner. You're trying to think of yourself as somebody who doesn't just blurt stuff out, that thinks carefully and develops himself based on the work they've already produced. That's so important in screenwriting. The second section of your script notes is a demonstration of how you contributed to developing the work of your peers. So how you offered feedback to your peers, and also how you received feedback from your peers and tutors and whoever else you talk to about the script. So that's the two things you want to talk about: analysis of your script and analysis of the peer working groups that you've been exposed to. Okay, I'm back. Hello. Right, so the first section, as I said, there's two sections. The first section is all about you critically analysing the development of your script throughout the module. Okay, here I've given you a list of things I think you should talk about. Now, you don't have to talk about all of these. In fact, you don't have time to talk about all of these, so you should choose the ones where you think you've got the best examples. So some of the things you might want to talk about are how you externalised internal thought. Was that challenging for you? Was it straightforward? Did you find you had a gift there, or was that something that you really had to work hard at? Would you get feedback that told you you'd written internal thought and you hadn't even noticed you'd done it? You know, so externalisation of internal thought is something that I think a lot of you could talk about. It's certainly something I noticed a lot in class. The process of show don't tell as well, which is quite similar. A lot of you wouldn't be writing internal thought, but you'd be telling me what's happening in the screenplay as opposed to showing me through the visuals. That's something I think everybody could probably talk about. Examples where they've done that well or where they hadn't done it so well. Because remember, you don't have to bring your examples from your final draft. You can bring examples from any of the drafts along the way, including the treatment and the scene. You could also talk about how writing your character biographies, when you told me about the internal and external aspects of your character, how that informed your development of character or the development of the screenplay. So don't forget the work you did early in the module. It's really important. You could also talk about how you actually wrote your treatment. So in the first time you sat down and thought, okay, I need to structure this thing, I need to create a treatment, you know, a 3-paragraph discussion of my work. How did that influence your thinking? You know, did it change what you were doing? Did you find it frustrating? Did you find it easy? What was going on there? How did that impact on your process? The same when you broke out the scene by scene. Did you have too many scenes? Did that you worked out? Did you not have enough material? Did you not have enough conflict in the middle? Were you not quite sure how to structure scene by scene? How did the scene by scene, how did the writing of the scene by scene impact on your screenplay? Other things you could talk about are the development of character wants and needs. You know, is that something that you really clearly went after to give your characters clearly defined wants, but not just that? Move them over to needs and the journey between the wants and needs. How did that play out in your screenplay? Yeah. The next thing I want to think about is scene structure. Were you able to structure effectively throughout? Did you know to change when you change space, place, or time? Yeah. Is that something that you had problems with in earlier drafts? Is that something people picked out for you? Is that something that you've been very strong on, you've a good notion with? So you can talk about scene structure. You can also talk about scene structure in relation to, and this is really common because I've seen this a lot in the class, in relation to having 3 beats in your scenes, you know, like a setup, a conflict, and some form of resolution or link to the next scene. Was that in your scenes initially? Did you have to then go back and re-engineer that? Did it improve your script? Did it make your script too big? Did it make you challenged to try and cut it down? What was going on there? Another thing you can talk about is 3-act structure itself. How easily were you able to apply 3-act structure across the whole of your script? Were you able to get all the plot points you needed to in? Was that a challenge? How did you go about hiding them to make them, you know, the machinery that exists underneath the script? How were you in writing dialogue? You know, was your dialogue crisp, believable? Did it add voice to the character? Was it consistent? Is there something you struggled with? Something that came dead easy? Did you try reading them aloud? How did the dialogue sound at the hot seats? What was going on there? How some of the hot seats, the table reads. You know, how did dialogue impact on your creative processes? The same with action. Did you find it easy to translate what was inside your head onto the screen? You know, did you get your dramatic action out effectively? Next one down is the process of rewriting. When you went between your drafts, from first draft to second draft to third draft, what was going on there? You know, so you've done your first drafts already, and now you're writing the second draft. So have a think about that, and then think about it again when you go on to your third drafts. The hot seating. What happened in the hot seat and how did that impact on how you thought of your characters? Did that change the way you're going to develop your characters, or did it reaffirm what you're going to do? Did you get good suggestions? Whatever, I don't know. The table read, again, did that change what you thought? I think a lot of people got a lot of changes this week when we table read, and I think that'll carry through into next week. How did the table read impact on your writing processes and how you put this script together? Also, what were the discussion board contributions? Did some of the stuff that came off that impact on how you're writing? You know, did you learn something there? Did you react strongly and think, no, I really have to do this? So how did that impact on your writing process? What you also might want to do in your script notes is you might want to talk about the short films you watched in class and how they inspired you or how you wanted to do something different from them. You might also want to talk about movies or novels or graphic novels or television shows or ways of developing character in other mediums that influenced how you went about doing what you're doing in your screenplay. That's all relevant stuff you can bring in. But what you must do is when you're addressing these points is make specific reference to your script, or indeed take quotations out of your script and demonstrate how you developed your script. So you could actually take an extract from an earlier draft of your script and show how it's developed to your final draft and discuss some of these things we mentioned in the previous slides in relation to the transition, the growth, the development of your screenplay. So I must see at least reference to your final script or your earlier drafts or your treatment or your scene by scene. I must at least see that in your script notes section work. But I really would also like to see direct quotes taken from your script to demonstrate that you're thinking about this. The best case scenario would be you can track changes through your script and show the development. A good one's dialogue. You know, here's this line of dialogue, you know, and I realised it was overwritten, so I rewrote it, and now here it was nice and tight, you know, and so that you can show me how you've developed your work. So that's something that's really important. So that's section one. Section one. You are basically self-appraising your screenplay or your radio play, because that's all we've got this year, and you are looking at the specific things we mentioned in those earlier slides, and you're giving specific reference to actual elements of your script in your notes. So section one, that's the big section. That's worth 70% of the 30 marks that are available, right? So that's the big section. That's worth the majority of the 30 marks that's available for this assessment. So you should spend most of your time on section one, really clear. Section two is the shorter section. It's worth 30% of the 30 marks available. Okay, and this is the one where you are basically telling me how you contributed to your peer discussions and how your peer discussions influenced you or impacted on you. So you could talk here about the feedback you provided in the discussion board, you could talk about the feedback you provided in the hot seat, you could talk about the feedback provided in the table read, or in fact you could talk about general feedback you provided on a Facebook group, in the corridor, just having a chat down, getting a cup of tea. You're talking about how you contributed to the development of others' work, but you're also discussing how other people's notes, other people's feedbacks, peer feedback, helped you change and develop your script. This is specifically where you're doing that, you know. How did others help you develop? And it doesn't always have to be, somebody said this, so I made that change, there we go. It could be somebody said this, and I thought about it, and I realised, no, I don't want to do that. And this is why I didn't make that change. And this is why my script is stronger for doing that. But of course, you could say somebody else said, make this change, and I made the change, and my script is stronger for making that change. It's all about discussing how you provided feedback for others, and also how feedback was provided to you. So that's really important that you do that in section two. Now section two, as I said, is the smaller section, so devote most of your time to section one, okay, and then a smaller amount of time to section two. but both sections are really important. So to summarise, I'm going to disappear again. Your script notes should be short, sharp and to the point. Okay, I don't want waffling, I don't want wasted words. It should be like a screenplay or a radio play. Short, sharp, to the point. Really important. 3 to 5 pages in length. Okay, I think somewhere in between the 3 and the 5 is ideal. They must include quotations from, or at least references to, your script. So I don't want it just to talk in kind of a detached way. I want clear references, quotations from your script. The purpose of these notes is to document to me, the assessor, how you've developed your script and how you've developed as a writer as well. Yeah, make sure that the notes are critical. Okay, they're not just, oh, everything was brilliant. They're critical, but they're also constructive. So if you were offering feedback to your peers, it wasn't slagging them off or ranting on them, it was offering them stuff to try and help them. Or if you get feedback from your peers, it was how what they said to you helped you develop. Or if it was feedback that wasn't constructive, why it wasn't constructive and how you dealt with that non-constructive feedback. That's the kind of stuff you want to talk about. Okay, but the whole point of the script notes is it's not like a random thing I just made up. I want you guys to get jobs in script writing. I also want you to get jobs in the filmmaking industry, or the radio industry, or any of the creative industries. And to do that, you have to be able to reflect on your own work critically. And I can't stress to you how important that is as a writer. You know, I have to, and I, Stuart as well, we have to reflect on what we write and rewrite all the time. It's a constant process. But also, if you want to be a good creator in these industries, you have to be able to evaluate other people's work, and you have to be able to do it constructively, and that's why I'm asking you to look at the work of others. So that's the end of this guide. So it's about 15-16 minutes for you. I hope it's not too long, but it's mega important. So thanks for listening.